Welcome to all of you. I am super excited to be here today and to share with you some incredibly cool features and ways that you can use ChatGPT as a Salesforce professional. So, for those of you who have not seen me demonstrate the different use cases of how not only you could use ChatGPT, but some of the ways that I personally am using ChatGPT to increase my productivity and my efficiency and to get more out of my day, my time, to help me with brainstorming, to help me with communication, to help me get some ideas out of my head and into uh, an easily digestible format that I can easily share with others that makes sense. Because, as many of you know me, I when there are certain topics that I am intimately familiar with or very passionate about, I can babble about them forever. But that's not always good for you guys. I mean, I could be sharing way more information than you want to hear. But at the same time, I want to make sure as a presenter, as an educator, as a coach, I want to be able to make sure that my message is coming across clearly, that it's easily digestible, that I'm using the appropriate words, that I'm not forgetting any specific topics. So those are just some of the reasons why I am completely addicted to ChatGPT. And in a minute, I'm going to start showing you on the fly. This is all live, spontaneous, on the fly. I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT to work far more efficiently as a Salesforce admin. There is not a single slide of a presentation that I'm using here. Everything is going to be live in ChatGPT. So for whatever reason ChatGPT goes down, yeah, we're sort of out of luck. But anyway, before I go into ChatGPT, there are a couple of things that I need to explain first to sort of like lay the groundwork. So ChatGPT can be used as a Salesforce admin. So some of you might be thinking, oh, can I use ChatGPT to help me with the Salesforce configuration, to help me understand what fields that I should create, what fields I should create, how to build a flow, how to learn about flow, how to build validation rules or formula fields, or how to set up specific users in a specific way to meet specific business requirements? And the answer is sort of yes. So one of the challenge, but that's not even going to be the focus of this session. When it comes down to it, if you need to know like what features to use, what features to enable, how to configure something in Salesforce, you could just Google that. You don't need ChatGPT for that. I'm talking about using ChatGPT in ways that you really cannot use Google to help you out with. So you can go to Google, you can go to Twitter, you can go to Trailhead, and you can learn the different options that are available to you as a Salesforce admin in order to optimize the configuration of Salesforce. Where you're really going to find the benefit as a Salesforce professional is in the following way. Let's face it, as a Salesforce admin, you're not only spending all of your time in the setup area of Salesforce. You are coordinating with different end users, different subject matter experts, different leaders within the organization to get an understanding of what are their end user issues. What is it that they're confused about? What is it that they hate about Salesforce? What spreadsheets are they throwing your way, asking you to import in Salesforce? What new processes do they want to introduce into Salesforce? And you've never heard of these processes. You know nothing about it. And they think that you could just magically flick a switch and automatically not only you will know everything that they need, but automatically the system will get set up in order to do that. You're going to have situations where someone says, hey, let's get fill in the blank, any third party app. And they think, again, it's flicking of a switch in order to set it up. And that's not the case whatsoever. So it's the communication, it's the managing of the project, it's the gathering of the business requirements, it's the engaging of stakeholders, even let's talk about end user training. As a Salesforce admin, you might find that you are also responsible for doing end user training. You have some users who don't really know how to use Salesforce and you need to train them. So you certainly know how to use Salesforce yourself. You also know how to go behind the scenes and set it up. But you were never trained on how to put together a training curriculum. So you have no idea how to go about doing that. And you might find yourself completely lost and overwhelmed and not sure, how do I go about doing this? These are all of the different ways that you are going to find that ChatGPT can help you tremendously. Those are just some examples. So think a little bit outside of the setup area of Salesforce. those are the to me, those are the biggest strengths. So those are the things that are missing from us today as Salesforce professionals, where we find ourselves struggling the most with managing of the business users, managing their expectations, managing the communication with them, managing when we have an issue or a risk regarding a particular project, and even trying to figure out what is the best way to communicate this to senior leaders within the organization. How do I get the attention of everyone within the organization? Those are the things that we are really struggling with, and that's what's going to help you. So, by the way, as I'm speaking, go ahead and throw a note in the comments on what areas, what struggles or obstacles do you find yourself sort of pulling your hair out with, where you think that maybe ChatGPT can help me with this area also. And as I peek over at the comments that are coming in, we'll see. I might pivot a little bit and throw in something that connects with anything that you brought up. And actually, it might give me some ideas on how I can help you even more on showcasing the different ways that ChatGPT can be used. Okay, so that was the first thing that I wanted to call out, is how ChatGPT can be used as a Salesforce admin. Now let's talk about, I'm going to start sharing my screen and I'm going to show you how to navigate around. For those of you who have not been in ChatGPT before, I'm going to explain what is going on the screen. For those of you who have seen it before, just bear with me. It's going to be quick. So because the screen is pretty simple. There's not that much going on over here. So for those of you who have not looked at ChatGPT before, what we see going on over here on the left-hand side of the screen, this is basically the history, the threads of the different conversations that I have had with ChatGPT. And you can see it says show more, and I can keep clicking and it's going to show an ongoing history. Think of it sort of like using WhatsApp or using any instant messaging program, where the truth is it's not so much like that, because in WhatsApp, each thread is really a conversation that you have either with one or multiple individuals. But here, it's each conversation is with the AI and nobody else. But it's a thread of conversation. So if I wanted to, for example, click into any one of these, I can simply click in over here, and I'm purposely jumping around quickly because I don't really want to show you all the different crazy things, ideas that I come up with as I'm walking the dog, and I'm using ChatGPT there also. And some of these I may or may not even be pursuing. So that's what we have going on the left-hand side. As you can see on the very top on the left-hand side, there's a button that says new chat. So what that does is it basically brings us to here, where we're starting a new thread of conversation with the AI. In the main portion of the screen right now, it looks blank and it looks kind of confusing. Like, what the heck is going on over here? Don't worry, it's going to fill up very quickly, very soon. So that's what we see going on in the main portion of the screen. As we have conversation, it's going to appear over here, just like in WhatsApp or any text messaging app. Down here on the bottom, you can see where it says send message. This is where we're going to start. That's how we interact with the system. So this could be a little bit intimidating, because it's like, wait, what buttons am I supposed to press? You're just texting. It's like you're texting with a person, but you're texting with an AI. So that's all that's really going on the screen. Now, by the way, normally on a regular basis, I also typically have other third-party Chrome extensions that I use with Chrome that give me other features and other things that are going on in ChatGPT. But honestly, those, and by the way, I do cover those in my course, which I'll talk about in a moment. But those are not critical to using ChatGPT whatsoever. You don't need to have, those are helpful. Those 100% enhance the experience. They give you some superpowers. We're not there yet, where this is more at the baseline fundamental. We're on ground one right now. We're not on on level 12. What I am going to show you is over here, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to put up on the screen a QR code. So you can see on the upper left-hand side of the screen, there's a QR code that will allow you to quickly get to here. So this is brainy.academy. And basically what you're going to see over here is I've got a couple of freebies over here, particularly the first two on the upper left-hand side, the first two items. These are free cheat sheets that I've created to help you get up and running very quickly with ChatGPT. The other thing that I have that I want to show you is also have a course that I created for Salesforce admins where I dive way deeper. It's the same topic as what I'm talking about now, but I go way deeper into many of the examples, and I talk about some of the Chrome extensions, and I talk about other use cases, and basically day in the life of a Salesforce admin juggling a whole bunch of different things, and how you can use ChatGPT to really boost your productivity and your efficiency in 1,000 different ways. So that's what the course is all about. And let's go and get rid of that QR code. So yeah, so this is one QR code for the course, and I'm going to take it away. And here is another QR code for the free resources, the cheat sheets. And they're both available at brainy.academy. Now, let's go back into ChatGPT, and before you do anything, before we put anything in here, I just want to warn you. Let's talk about some of the risks of confidential information. Before you put anything in, think twice. You do not want to put confidential, sensitive, private information about your colleagues, about your company, about your prospects, about your customers. So that's not going to stop you from getting a whole lot out of ChatGPT. You can get a ton out of ChatGPT. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I see a bunch of folks are scanning the QR code. I'm going to leave this QR code up here because it's not actually interfering with anything that I'm going to show you. Anyway, so first off, you do not want to put in any confidential, sensitive, private information, not about yourself, not about your clients, not about your prospects, not about your colleagues. So you can still generalize. You can still give fictitious names, fictitious information for the various people or various scenarios that you are looking for help with from ChatGPT. So we sort of need to find the balance between giving enough information to ChatGPT so that we get the most out of it, and not give too much information because we don't know where the information is going. In terms of how the company behind ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, and how they are using the information that we put in, we have no idea. So you don't want to put confidential, sensitive information. Please, please, please don't take private like spreadsheets and pop them in and asking for some analysis on it. The next thing that I want to call out is in terms of limits that ChatGPT has. So there are limits in a couple different ways. First of all, generally speaking, ChatGPT does not have internet access. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, that Salesforce made an announcement yesterday or last week or 2 months ago or 6 months ago, and I ask ChatGPT for information on that. If I ask for ChatGPT for information about, let's say, the summer 23 release, where the release notes were just published a couple of days ago, ChatGPT does not know any information about that from the web. Now, it might potentially know, depending on how the company behind it, OpenAI, but depending on how they use the information that others are cutting and pasting into ChatGPT around the world, it is potentially possible that they are adding that information to the internal knowledge base. So if I go to, let's say, the news about something that happened an hour ago or 5 hours ago or last night, ChatGPT knows nothing about it. And if you want me to prove that, I can prove that right here. I'm going to go into ChatGPT, and the first prompt I'm going to ask is, how recent is the knowledge that you have about world events? And when I do that, we're going to see that it shows me that there is a cutoff date of September of 2021. Let me make the text a little bit bigger for you guys. I don't want to make it too big because this is going to fill up very quickly. So we can see over here that if I ask it for information about, let's say, Einstein GPT, what do you know about Salesforce's new feature slash product called Einstein GPT? See, as of my knowledge, cutoff date of September 2021, I am not aware of any product or feature from Salesforce called Einstein GPT. Salesforce has a product called Einstein that uses artificial intelligence to provide insights, predictions, and recommendations for sales, marketing, and customer service. However, this product does not use GPT language model specifically. So it doesn't know any of that kind of information. By the way, that also means, let's go back to my prior point. As a Salesforce admin, if you're looking for help and guidance and advice on configuring Salesforce for your company, ChatGPT does not even have the appropriate information to give you the most up-to-date, best answers. So if you ask it information on like, how do I automate something in Salesforce? It's going to give you recommendations about using workflow rules and process builder. A flow did exist. So it could mention flow, but it's not going to focus heavily on flow. It's going to give you recommendations about the information that it has more of a database about, which is workflow rules and process builder. So you need to sort of keep that in mind with everything that you do in ChatGPT. The other limitation that we have with ChatGPT is in terms of the information that you put in. So I'm not going to get into the technical aspect of it, but essentially the memory that ChatGPT has within a specific thread is very limited. It uses this concept of tokens, and tokens are basically the equivalent of characters, not even words. So depending on the length of your words, you could be using, or length of the words that either you put in or it puts out, you're going to have tokens that are used up throughout the thread, which means that if you continue with a particular thread, keep going and going and going and going, at some point, you're either going to get no response from ChatGPT, or basically it's going to give you gibberish or nonsensical responses, where what you really need to do is similar to what I'm going to do right now. So let's make believe for a minute that I've exhausted this thread to the point where I'm getting nonsensical responses. I need to go over here on the upper left-hand side where it says new chat, click this, and boom, I'm starting a new chat, which means that ChatGPT is not going to be able to reference anything that's on the left-hand side. This is a new conversation. This is about something completely different. So now if, for example, I want to pivot from the question that I asked it before about what is the knowledge cutoff date. By the way, did you notice over here that as soon as I asked the first question and it responded, that ChatGPT automatically gave a name to the thread of conversation? I didn't do this. ChatGPT did it on the fly as I was talking to it. I can go here and I can rename it. And by the way, best practice, let me show you this. If let's say you have a particular thread and you want to make sure you can easily find it later, what I typically do is I'll go in here and I'll click on the edit. But before I do, I will go here and I'll do like emoji, let's say heart, and I will just grab a heart emoji. Yeah, I don't remember the keyboard commands to just do it by keyboard. So then I'll go over here and I'll hit the pencil icon and I'll go to the beginning and I'll simply paste it, any emoji. It doesn't even matter which one. And this way I remember that of the nonsense, gibberish, brainstorming, half-baked ideas that I played around with in ChatGPT, I know how to find the ones that I really care about, like flagging the ones that I really care about. So I can always get back to it right over here. Anyway, don't mean to go off on a tangent. Let's go back over here. So now let's say if I want to pivot to a brand new conversation, I click on here, new chat, and I can start a brand new conversation, and I'm not using up any of the memory from the prior conversation. So that's something else that you need to know about. Okay. Now let's go ahead and jump in to some of the use cases. The first use case that I want to talk to you about as a Salesforce admin to use ChatGPT to work far more efficiently is within the context of project management. And look, whether we use the terminology of project or not, as a Salesforce admin, you're working on projects. The project might be that you just found out that a couple of people in sales were using spreadsheets instead of Salesforce, and now you need to reconcile their data and migrate their data into Salesforce, and then need to get them to stop using, slap them on the wrist, get them to stop using their spreadsheets, and need to get them up and running, trained on how to use ChatGPT. On how to use Salesforce. Sorry, I didn't mean to say ChatGPT. On how to use Salesforce. That is a project. That is far more than just a task of importing the spreadsheet, because even when you look at the spreadsheet, you're going to say, oh, there are duplicates. We need to deal with the duplicates. Oh, they're capturing information in the spreadsheet. The reason why they were using the spreadsheet is because we don't have a place in Salesforce to capture the information that some of these people consider to be critical in terms of their sales process. So now we need to configure Salesforce. They might also say that they need automation associated with something about their process. They also need to know how to use Salesforce. Then we as Salesforce admins need to know which features in Salesforce do we need to hide from them. Maybe they've been saying that they're not using Salesforce because the screens are freaking cluttered. There are tabs everywhere. There are fields everywhere. It's overwhelming. They see more records than they need to see. So we need to figure out, this is a project. This is not just importing spreadsheets. So we have projects. We're working on projects. No matter what type of project it is, it's a project. So I'm going to show you some use cases on how we can use ChatGPT to help us with all different kinds of projects. I'm going to use an example right now of a project where we, as a Salesforce admin, suddenly out of the blue, a new project landed on our lap where we need to implement DocuSign for digital signatures in our organization. And what I'm going to do is I have sort of saved over here to make it a little bit easier, to make it a little bit more efficient in terms of our time. I'm just going to copy and paste a prompt that I prepared for this use case. So I just cut and pasted it over here. So you can see I have over here, you are an experienced project manager. Let me explain what's going on here. So basically this concept of what we're putting into ChatGPT in order to get the appropriate output, let me explain some terminology. This is referred to as a prompt. And then we have the output that we get from ChatGPT. So there's a lot that goes into constructing a prompt and in order to get the most out of it. Let me explain the basics of, I'm going to start slow and then I'm going to build on it through this session. So the first thing that I have here, the first sentence, I often refer to this as the prefix. It's really a self-sustaining sentence. It's not a prefix, but I call it the prefix. This is essentially the role that you are giving ChatGPT. This, because ChatGPT has information about everything that existed that was posted on the internet prior to September of 2021 in its knowledge base. In theory, I could be asking it, how do I grow watermelons in my backyard? How do I raise a teenager? How do I make a healthy dinner for someone who's diabetic? How do I organize my life or my room? Give me a workout program to blah, 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 like whatever it might be. ChatGPT has no clue the context of why I'm asking it this and whatever it is that I'm asking for. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to think of it like role play. You need to tell ChatGPT at the onset of the thread of conversation what role you want it to play. That will now give it the framework so that it knows where to focus for the output that it's going to give, what kind of information you're looking for. So I said, you are an experienced project manager. Not just you're a project manager, you're an experienced project manager. In other words, give me advice, whatever outputs you give it to me from the perspective of someone who has worked on a lot of projects. So that's the prefix. Okay, I need your help. Is this actually needed? I have no clue, but I put it in anyway. What's the harm? Next, I'm working on a project to introduce DocuSign for digital signatures for my company and integrate it with Salesforce. I know nothing about DocuSign or how to manage a project like this. Can you help me identify a roadmap to do this successfully? Now, I purposely constructed this being a little bit vague. I'm giving it the context. I'm expressing my frustration. I'm expressing my cluelessness. I'm giving it the framework of, okay, it's DocuSign for digital signatures versus, by the way, DocuSign has other products like DocGen. So no, it's not that. It's about the digital signature piece. And I need to integrate it into Salesforce. And I'm purposely vague. I'm not even clearly articulating what kind of advice I'm looking for, because maybe I don't even know yet. I don't know what I don't know. So, by the way, I did not yet show you the suffix that I recommend, and these are the things that I teach in my course. I'm going to show you the suffix soon. I'm purposely leaving it out right now. So I have the prefix and I have the core of what I'm asking it to do. And you can also see over here that you don't have to stick to any particular structure. One of the beautiful things about the AI for ChatGPT is you don't, it does not have to be formatted in any specific way. Now, even grammatically, so you could put run-on sentences, you could just put fragmented sentences. However, big however, the more grammatically correct you are, the fewer typos that you put in, the more accurate you are, the better of an output you're going to get, because it eliminates, just like when talking to a person, it eliminates confusion or misunderstanding when communicating with it. Anyway, so this is what I have here. Let me just hit enter and let's see what it gives us. Of course, I'd be happy to help you on this project. Here is a roadmap that can guide you through the steps you'll need to take to successfully introduce DocuSign for digital signatures and integrate it with Salesforce. Define the project scope. Start defining the project. Okay, fine. Identify the stakeholders. Develop a project plan. Identify the required integrations. And by the way, it doesn't just stop at Salesforce. It's even including over here. This will include setting up the necessary APIs, configuring Salesforce objects, and mapping data fields between the two systems. So it's already starting to go that deep in it, even with the first question. Configure DocuSign, train the users. Everybody doesn't automatically know how to use DocuSign. They might know how to use DocuSign as people who are signing the documents. They might not know how to use DocuSign as the person sending the document, let alone sending it from Salesforce. So training is involved, and roll out the solution. So right here, right out of the gate, with my vague question, I am now getting some structure from ChatGPT on, okay, here are the key things that I need to do. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ask another follow-up question, which I prepared in advance. So I'm going to copy and paste it over here. And I'm putting in, can you help me put together a straw man of the project scope and goals? So what does that mean? Well, first of all, I'm purposely sort of being vague here also. I'm essentially asking it to give me a little bit more structure to this project. Something like, okay, I get it. I understand what we have here, but can you help me give me something that can turn it into something more substantive, something that I can now share with others, something that I can cut and paste into a Microsoft Word document or into a PowerPoint and say, okay, here's the scope of the project. Here are our goals for the project, something. And I'm also using this command of use Markdown. Now you're going to see within the next couple of minutes that I use different versions of this command. And essentially generally speaking, what Markdown means is bold, underline, italics, headlines, subheadlines, bulleted lists, numerical lists, etc. So I'm just going to put this, again, I'm purposely being vague here. Don't know what kind of output I'm going to get. And when I hit enter over here, we can see that now ChatGPT is basically giving me project scope and project goals. Let's read it. The goal of the project is to introduce DocuSign for digital signatures and integrate it with Salesforce to streamline our contract management process. Specifically, we want to enable the sales team to send contracts to clients for electronic signatures directly from Salesforce, automate the contract signing process to improve efficiency and reduce errors, allow legal teams to track contract status in real time, integrate DocuSign data with Salesforce to provide a complete view of the sales process, ensure that the new system is secure, user-friendly, and compliant with legal requirements. Project goals. To achieve the project scope, we have the following goals. Successfully configure DocuSign to work with Salesforce, train all relevant stakeholders in how to use it, achieve a high level of adoption of the new system, improve contract management, increase sales productivity. Now, one of the beautiful things that we have here, even with this output, I did not specify for what use case. You can see over here, let's go back over here. I basically said, I'm working on a project to introduce DocuSign for digital signatures for my company and integrate it with Salesforce. And I know nothing about DocuSign. And within the outputs that it gave me as just a baseline, I did not specify. Maybe I'm working in a college, and this is for college admissions. Maybe this is a middle school, and we want to use DocuSign to get releases signed, let's say for parents giving permission for children to go on school trips. Maybe it's a medical office and we need the patients to give us release forms, to sign release forms so that we can access the medical records from a prior physician that they worked with. So I did not specify what industry or what context, but we can see over here, just by even getting this as a placeholder, as a starting point, I can now go in and I can specify, because it says send contracts. Maybe it's not contracts. Maybe it's not clients. Maybe it's patients. Maybe it's prospects. Maybe it's for vendors. So I never specified what it's for. I never gave any of those details. But now I can even taking this and sharing it with other people within the organization, they might be like, dude, contracts? No, we don't plan on using it for contracts. Great. Give us some clarity. What the heck are we using it for? And within what use case? For which users are we even talking about? What parts of Salesforce should it be integrated with? So even by getting this, we can now use that as a tool to help us get further with our project, even though we started off with something incredibly vague. Okay, next. I have another prompt over here that I prepared in advance. So I'm just going to paste it in. Now, by the way, you can see that what I'm doing here with these other prompts, I don't have to give ChatGPT a refresher of the context of what we're talking about. This is similar to when you're chatting with a friend. You have the thread of conversation. You could simply continue with the conversation. So, in theory, I can go back to the history of chats that I've had over here in the past and resurrect a prior conversation and ask more follow-up questions on it. And it will continue with that topic of conversation. And within that context and that role that I asked it to play at the very top over here. So it will contain, or I should say, retain all of that when I go back to any particular thread. So here I have a follow-up question. When meeting with the SMEs, subject matter experts, so I'm not even writing out the full words. I'm using the acronym. Well, when meeting with the SMEs, what are the key questions I should be asking to gather their business requirements accurately? Because maybe like, okay, I get it. This is very cool. This is very helpful, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. So when I meet with them, what the heck am I supposed to ask these people? So let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT to help us out to get some ideas on what kind of questions I should be asking these subject matter experts. So once I entered it, we could see over here when meeting with the SMEs, and it even wrote it out to make sure that there's no confusion, subject matter experts. It's important to gather as much information as possible about their business requirements for the project. Here are some key questions you could ask to gather requirements accurately. What are the pain points in your current process? This will help you understand the current challenges and identify areas where DocuSign and Salesforce can make a positive impact. What specific features and functionality do you need from DocuSign and Salesforce? Now we get it. When you first meet with them, they're going to be like, duh, we got DocuSign so we can get digital signatures. Yeah, no kidding. But for what context, for what kind of use cases? Do you need a field in Salesforce to get updated maybe when the document is fully signed? Do you want the actual signed document automatically sent to someone? Does someone need to get a notification? What happens if we send something out and let's say we don't get it signed after 5, 6, 8, 12, 30 days? Is something supposed to happen? So it's more than just, okay, we want digital signatures. No kidding. Let's fill in the blanks. There's a whole lot more that's needed here. And this is going to help us understand the context of why. Why do we have DocuSign? For what purpose? And to get a better understanding of which people are involved, what processes are involved, to know how we can help them better on this particular project. What are the specific workflows involved in your process? By the way, if every time you see the word workflow, you automatically think Salesforce workflow feature, get your head out of Trailhead, okay? Because the word workflow is used in the general world to mean business processes. So don't automatically assume that every time you see the word workflow, it actually means the Salesforce workflow feature. It means the business process. So what are the specific business processes involved in your process? This will help you understand the steps involved in the process and identify potential areas where DocuSign and Salesforce can improve efficiency. What data needs to be captured and stored in Salesforce? What are the security and compliance requirements for this project? Like maybe we want to make sure that only specific kinds of documents get signed. Maybe we want to have templates from our legal and compliance team that they're giving us the documents. We don't want sales reps just creating documents on the fly. They could be sending all kinds of nonsensical stuff that's not compliant with what our legal team wants. So we need to know these things. How will the new system be used by each team? Maybe it's only going to be used by the business development team. Maybe it's only going to be used by the government contracts team. Maybe it's not going to be used by everybody. But we need to know. We need to ask these questions in order to know so that we have a meeting of the minds in terms of what this project is all about. What are the key success factors for this project? Anyway, so you get the idea. So now it's basically giving me a lot more context, and it's making me as a Salesforce admin, it's empowering me to get way further in this project way faster. And it makes me look way smarter to my colleagues, to my manager, to the other people that I'm working with at work. Now, by the way, I'll also share something else for those of you who are a little bit concerned, like, oh my gosh, what if my boss finds out that I used ChatGPT to get this? Who the heck cares? Does anyone care that you used Google or Wikipedia or the public library to find information? Does anyone care that you went to YouTube in order to find best practices on how to use a flow? No, nobody gives a damn. Why don't they give a damn? Because They care about the fact that you have this information. They care about the fact that you proactively sought this information. They care about the fact that you took this information and you knew you were proactive about getting it. You knew how to bring it back, and you knew how to use that whatever you found on Wikipedia, on Google, on YouTube, on ChatGPT, how to use it internally within the organization to solve problems. That's what's important, not the fact that you got it from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just a tool. That's all it is a tool. It does not get everything 100% accurate. It's just a tool. It's something to help you move forward, to make progress faster. Anyway, so that was the first use case in terms of project management. The next one, which is closely related, has to do with communication. So ChatGPT can help you tremendously in terms of facilitating communication. In the end, what is ChatGPT's biggest strength? It's not about Salesforce. It's not about technology. It's about language. ChatGPT is a master of language. It was built to be a language expert. So we can use that to our own benefit when dealing with communication issues. So let me show you. I'm going to copy and paste up another prompt that I prepared. Just copying it over here. And I'm going to paste it, and I'm using the same context of a DocuSign project. So I'm pasting it over here, and let me read it to you. It might be hard for you to see. My SMEs for this project are really not helpful at all. They won't give me the time of day. They won't share their business requirements. They won't give me any details about the documents they want me to digitize for them in DocuSign. So again, I'm not really giving it any substantive information here. I'm sort of venting. I'm sort of treating ChatGPT as if it's my therapist. I encourage you to do that because the more context, the more information. Keep in mind, even with this and everything I put in above, I did not reveal any confidential, sensitive, private information. I did not reveal anything about the company where I'm employed or the nature of this project. I did not reveal anything about the people that I'm working with or the types of documents that we're talking about. I did not reveal any of that. So I'm still being vague enough, but giving enough context so that ChatGPT is hopefully going to give me information that continues to be relevant for my situation. So let's continue over here. They won't give me any details about the documents they want me to digitize for them in DocuSign. They think I can read their minds. So basically, what ChatGPT will understand from this is I'm struggling with communication from them. I'm struggling by not getting the kind of communication that I need from them. Can you help me put together an email that will explain why I'm unable to make progress on this project without their involvement? I'm really worried that this project will be a huge failure without getting them engaged. So all I'm really asking for is an email, but I'm giving the context to ChatGPT so that it understands, here are my pain points, here are my concerns, here are my frustrations, here's what I'm hoping to achieve with this. So please help me out. So let's go ahead and hit submit, and let's see what we've got. So first of all, I find it particularly cute that it says, I'm sorry to hear that your SMEs are being uncooperative. Here's an email you can use to explain why their involvement is crucial for the success of the project. Subject: importance of SMEs involvement in DocuSign Salesforce integration project. Dear SMEs, I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to emphasize the importance of your involvement in the DocuSign Salesforce integration project. As you know, this project aims to introduce DocuSign for digital signatures and integrate it with Salesforce to streamline our contract management process. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make as much progress on this project due to the lack of input and guidance from the SMEs. I'm going to stop reading right there because we all know, putting ourselves in the shoes of the SMEs, especially with the context that I gave it over here, they're not going to fricking read this email. So what am I going to do next? I am going to cut and paste another prompt that I prepared over here that basically says, they won't read this email. Can you rewrite it using Markdown and make it scannable? So now I'm not only saying use Markdown so that it's easy to see like the different sections and the different key points. Make it scannable, meaning try to use the fewest words possible. Let's see what we get. Okay, so the fact that it made the subject bold really does not help us whatsoever. But Now let's see what we have here. Let's make believe we're scanning it. Problem. Why their involvement. So this really needs to be reworded as why your involvement is crucial. Not a big deal. Request for meeting. Okay, this looks good. Unfortunate problem. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make as much progress on this project due to the lack of input and guidance from the SMEs. I'd like to emphasize that your input and guidance are critical for the success of this project. Okay, request for meeting. Okay, honestly, what I would do is uh, I would ask it to put it in the form of bullet points. I would ask it to maybe make stronger language over here. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take another prompt that I prepared saying, can you rewrite it so that the risks are abundantly clear and so that this email is scannable? So I'm still saying I want it to be scannable, damn it. So let's go here and hit send and let's see what we get. Here, now we're talking. Dear SMEs, I'm writing to urgently highlight the risks of proceeding with the DocuSign Salesforce integration project without your involvement. The risks: misalignment of objectives. Without your input and guidance, we risk introducing a system that doesn't meet your specific requirements and objectives. Low adoption rate. Without your support, we risk low adoption rates, which will result in wasted time and resources. Inefficiency and errors. Without your feedback, we risk introducing a system that doesn't streamline your current process, leading to inefficiency in records. Lack of security and compliance. Without your input, we risk not meeting your security and compliance requirements, leading to potential legal and financial risks. Request for a meeting, action required. This is getting far more punchy and to the point. This is really what we need over here. So that is, I'm going to sort of like stop there. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I have this context in a little bit. I don't. So you know what? I'll take it one step further, and then I'll switch over to two other use cases that I want to demonstrate for you. So let's make believe that I copy this, I paste it into my email, and I edit it as needed, and I send it out. And now I'm thinking, I have a meeting. Oh, what the hell am I going to share with them at the meeting? I don't know. What am I going to present at the meeting? What questions am I asking them at the meeting? So let's go over here and let's continue the follow up. And I'm going to say, can you help me put together an agenda for this meeting? I'm not entirely sure what I should be asking them or how to structure this meeting. And I need to make sure that it's efficient and well organized. Also, help me identify how much time to allocate for each topic and watch what we get. Meeting agenda, introduction and project overview, 10 minutes. Project process and pain points, 15 minutes. Discuss the current process for managing contracts and documents. Identify the pain points. Specific requirements for DocuSign and Salesforce, 30 minutes. Identify specific features and functionalities required for DocuSign and Salesforce. Discuss the specific workflows involved. Identify the data requirements. Discuss any security and compliance requirements. Now we're talking about the document requirements. Identify the specific types of documents that need to get digitized and sent for electronic signature. Now, keep in mind, they should have come up in this part of the conversation, but just in case they haven't, that's why we have only 15 minutes allocated to it. It's going to help us identify what other documents are part of this project. Discuss any document formatting requirements. Training and adoption, 10 minutes, because it's not like we're doing training now. We just need to discuss how training is going to be done. How do we make sure that people actually use it? Next steps and action items, 10 minutes. So this is now giving me notes that I can use to organize the meeting. But now let's take it a step further. I want help from ChatGPT to put together the presentation. So can you help me put together the actual presentation for the slides for this meeting? I'm not sure what to include on each slide. Now, keep in mind, if I just look up above, it's going to show me how to structure the slides. But let's make believe I'm overwhelmed. I have no idea what to do. I'm so intimidated by these people. I don't know what to say. So let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT what to put on each slide. And it's basically going to tell me, here are all of the slides, and here's what you need to include on all of the slides. And here are the talking points, which match up with the agenda that it gave me up above. Okay, next. Um, Time-saving tips for Salesforce admins. You probably noticed from everything that I showed you so far, everything that I showed you helps you save time. But let's take it a step further. And now let's make believe I'm going to start a brand new chat over here because I'm going to use a different use case. I'm going to use a use case that hopefully many of you can relate to, where as Salesforce admins, a new employee comes on board. And what are we told or what are we asked to do when that new employee comes on board as it relates to Salesforce? Usually, we're given nothing more than their first name, their last name. If we're lucky, we get their email address and we're told, set them up in Salesforce. What's even worse is sometimes we're told, oh, yeah, that's going to be so and so's receptionist and set them up as a system admin. Oh, hell no, over my dead body. That ain't going to happen. So we as a Salesforce admin need to figure out what are we supposed to do in this kind of situation. We know that this is bad, but we don't know what we should do in order to make the situation better. Because even though it doesn't necessarily happen every day, it might happen once a week, once a month, once a quarter. But still, it's not only frustrating, but we need to manage the expectations of the people that we're working with. We want to make sure to get clarity that the person should be set up appropriately, not to have after the fact, once this person is on board, to have the conversation of, oh yeah, what is your role? What is it? What records are you supposed to see? What kind of features do you need set up? No, let's do it at the get-go. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to copy and paste another prompt that I prepared. So now you're going to see I have a prefix. You are an experienced Salesforce admin. Keep in mind, the prior one, I basically said you're an experienced project manager because I needed the expertise of a project manager. You don't need to know Salesforce in order to help me with all of the things that I talked about previously on the DocuSign project. You need to be an experienced project manager. But here, I need the person to be an experienced Salesforce admin, the AI, to be an experienced Salesforce admin. I need your help. I'm an admin at a company where new users keep coming on board all the time. My colleagues never give me more information than the name and email address of the new team member, asking me to give them access to Salesforce. Can you help me put together a form that I can give them, asking for all of the necessary details to determine how to configure these new users, determining which records they need access to, apps they should have, records to transfer to them, if any, and anything else that I can't even think of. So that's what I'm going to put in. So again, I'm being sort of vague. I'm giving it the appropriate context. I'm expressing my concerns and my frustrations, but I'm also clearly saying, I need help knowing what is it that I don't know. What should I, well, I don't know. What should I be asking them for? So treat it like it's a friend. Treat it, ChatGPT, like it's a friend that's an experienced Salesforce admin, someone who's been doing this a few years longer than yourself. And let's go ahead and hit submit and let's see what we get. Okay, sure, I'd be happy to help you put together this form. Here are some questions you might want to consider including. What is the user's role within the company? Keep in mind, again, like I talked about the word workflow before, when we use the word role, don't automatically associate it with Salesforce role. No, outside of the world of trailblazers, the word role means the responsibilities in the workplace for this individual. It does not always automatically equate to Salesforce role. It might be something else. So what is their department or team? What is their manager's name? What level of access do they require within Salesforce? Read only, read write, administrator. What specific objects, records, or data sets do they need access to within Salesforce? Are there any specific apps or features they will need access to? What is their start date? Are there any specific training or onboarding requirements? Do they need any data transferred or imported from another system? Are there any specific workflows, automation, or processes? See, it did not even talk about flows that need to be set up for this user. You may also want to include additional fields to gather personal information such as contact details, preferred language, time zone, etc. So here now it's giving me a starting point. So, okay, this is great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a follow-up prompt. So, okay, this is good. And I could just copy and paste this into a Google Doc or Microsoft Word and start working with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to ask ChatGPT, can you turn this into a form? I'm lazy. Make it easy for me. So let's go ahead and hit enter and let's see what we get. Okay, that was interesting. That's difficult to read, but it's fine. So in case you get this, basically usually ChatGPT will give you in this format when it's code that it's giving you as the output. So that's why it says here like copy code. It'll simply copy it to the clipboard, and then you can go into any tool in order to just paste it, and it's going to paste it. But hold on, let's do this. I'm going to go here and hit regenerate response. And okay, now it did without that. So it's putting it in the form of questions, not that different from what we had up above, but it's good. And then, by the way, if I hit regenerate response, again, it might break it down as first name, last name, mobile number, office number. So you're going to get slightly different responses. Here, see? Maybe it heard me. I don't know. But you can see where each time you do it, you're going to get a slightly different response. No output is necessarily perfect. It's a starting point. It's one way to answer that particular question. Okay, let's move on because I want to make sure that we cover everything that I wanted to cover for you guys. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, throw it in the chat. I'm going to take a look at the questions in a moment. Okay, now let's try another one. I'm going to start a different chat for this. And this is a use case that many of you are probably familiar with, where all of a sudden, out of the blue, we are asked to train end users on how to use Salesforce. And like I mentioned earlier, sure, we know how to use Salesforce. We know how to use contacts and accounts and opportunities or cases or campaigns and activities. We know how to build reports and dashboards, but we have never been asked to put together a curriculum to train anyone on how to use it. We don't even want to do that. But lo and behold, we have no choice. It's thrown on our lap and we don't know where to start. We don't know how to make sense of it. We don't even know how to pace ourselves when putting together a training course like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste over here a prompt that I prepared in advance. And I'm going to show you again, we have the same prefix, the role that I'm giving it. You're an experienced Salesforce admin. I need your help. I'm an admin at a company where I suddenly find that I need to train my end users on how to use Salesforce. While I know how to use Salesforce and know how to be an admin, I have no clue how to put together a training curriculum. Can you help me identify what to include in my training materials? And now I am introducing you to the concept of the suffix. And by the way, as a general rule, I encourage you to use this all the time, even though I did not use it before. I did not use it before because I wanted to sort of teach you in a way that is easy to digest. It should not feel overwhelming to you. So ask any clarifying questions before proceeding. When you ask that, before ChatGPT gives you a response, ChatGPT is going to think of what other pieces of information do I need in order to give the best response possible. So before it gives me anything, it's going to say, dude, I need the following pieces of information. Let's take a look and see. To start, can you tell me a little bit more about the end users you'll be training? What are their roles in the company? And what Salesforce features will they be using? This will help me better tailor the training materials. Now, keep in mind, some of these folks, they might only be working on a leads object or leads and activities. They might not be working on cases. So we don't want ChatGPT to give us a curriculum talking about campaigns and opportunities and cases and reports and dashboards when that's not going to be anywhere close to their level of responsibility. So we need to explain what it is that these people are going to be doing. So I'm going to say these are just sales reps. I'm going to keep it super simple for now. They just need to work with contacts, accounts, opportunities. By the way, I'm going to purposely abbreviate over here, log activities, create reports and dashboards, and work with list views. We have no other third-party apps or other custom objects that they will be working with. They need to log their efforts to manage the pipeline and close deals. That's all I'm going to put in for now. And that's really it. I'm looking back at the questions that I put in, and yeah, that's fine. That sums it up. So now I have great. Thanks for the additional information. Based on what you told me, here are some topics. Overview of Salesforce navigation user interface, contacts, accounts, and opportunities, activities and tasks, reports and dashboards, list views, best practices, Q&A troubleshooting. So now it's giving me a lot more framework of what I can do over here with the training for these people. So now what I'm going to put in is, hang on, I'm going to copy and paste. Like, I get it. I'm with you. I still don't know what the curriculum should look like. I'm being asked to give these people a curriculum to let them know what they're going to get trained on. And I feel that I need to give them something more than this, or maybe even for myself, I need to give them something more. So I'm copying and pasting this. Can you write out the full curriculum for me with the recommendations of how much time to allocate for each topic? And let's see what we get. Here we go. Introduction of Salesforce, 10 minutes. Provide an overview of Salesforce and its purpose in your organization. Explain the benefits of using Salesforce. Introduce the key features and components. Navigation and user interface, 20 minutes. Demonstrate how to navigate the Salesforce interface. Show how to customize the homepage layout. By the way, this is referring to a classic feature. A lot of you might be looking at this saying, they are not Salesforce admins. They can customize the homepage. You're 100% right. In Classic, users had limited ability to customize the homepage, and that's what this is referring to. Not everything is 100% right. You need to basically take this out. Show how to use a global search and find records. Explain how to use the search filters to narrow down search results. Introduce the recently viewed and favorites list for quick access. And then we have contacts, accounts, and opportunities, activities and tasks, reports and dashboards. So now this is great. I want to take it a step further. And now I'm thinking, okay, this is great, but I don't want to do a freaking monologue. What kind of activities should I be doing? I need this to be, they need to be engaged. They need to be logged into Salesforce doing stuff. So what activities should I have them do? So I'm cutting and pasting this. Are there any hands-on exercises that I should include? And when I do that, it's now going to give me these specific hands-on exercises that these folks should be doing. Now, by the way, each time I do this, because it's not like I'm going to get a different response, because I'm looking at this, create a contact login activity, create a custom report. What about opportunities? Damn it. Come on. They're working on the pipeline. So I'm going to hit regenerate response and let's see what we get. And it's so far not giving me anything different. So watch this. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, how about opportunities? I need them to know how to use that feature. Yes, teaching your sales reps how to use opportunities in Salesforce is crucial. So now it's including that. So now what I'm going to do is, and by the way, it's going even deeper. It's saying not only create a new opportunity, update an existing opportunity, add products to an opportunity, associate contacts with the opportunity, generate an opportunity report. And so now I'm going to go ahead further. I'm going to say, can you consolidate all of these activities into a table for me so that I can cut and paste it into Excel. Watch this. Look at that. So these are just some of the incredibly cool ways that you can use ChatGPT to help you get far more efficient and save time and look like a superhero within your organization. Now what I'm going to do is let me take a look at some of the questions that have come in because I want to make sure to address whatever I can. I see Marisa wrote about training users. Yes, I just need some hands-on experience. Okay, so I would say for hands-on experience, you can try with ChatGPT, but you're better off sticking with Trailhead. Improving data quality. So by the way, Alim, this is a fantastic question. So, or I should say topic. So what I'm going to do is this, watch this. You are an experienced Salesforce admin. Can you help give me a framework to get my team to improve the data quality in Salesforce? I'm going to put in, I don't know where to start. Define your data quality goals, assess your current data quality, establish data quality standards, develop a data cleansing strategy, implement data quality controls, train your team, continuously improve. Now, again, I can take any one of these and I can ask for examples. I can ask for it to give me a template. I can ask for it to give me a form. I can ask what activities should I be doing to address any of these things. So there's a lot that you can do with all of that. This is a great question. Functional requirements gathering and steps breakdown. So let me just show you real quick. Let's make believe that we're working in an organization. I'm going to use the example I gave before, college admissions. So You are a manager of a college admissions office. Can you help me uh, write? Can you write? Can you write a step by step um, process of how you handle incoming prospective students? What process do you follow? And it's going to give me a template of a framework for a college admissions office on what they typically, so you can pick an industry, pick a sub niche, pick a functional group within your organization, and you can leverage ChatGPT. By the way, this is a topic that I go way into in detail in my course, where you can then have it help you identify which stakeholders should I include in the meeting. What is the best way to set up the meeting to get their business requirements? What are the data points that I need? So watch this. Uh, if you were to create a spreadsheet, or no, uh, if you were to track this in Salesforce, uh, can you write out a table of objects and fields to use to track these details for each step in the process? Watch this. Fields: first name, last name, email, phone, mailing address, high school name, high school graduation year. Object: no, 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 you're not creating no frickin' object called admissions officer. Hell no, that's not happening. Object: application. Okay, that would make sense. What fields you need? The prospective student, the application status, submitted date. Object: interview. Okay, maybe because you could have multiple interviews. Object: decision, object: enrollment. So this is, again, at least giving you a starting point, but honestly, it did not give it to me in the form of a table. I asked for a table. So I'm going to say over here, can you rewrite it as a table? Just want to show you how you can do things like that. And here you go. Oh, but now it just smushed in. It consolidated everything into one thing. But whatever, you get the point. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. I realize that we're 1 minute over. Let's see what I can. Um, oh, this is a great question, John. This is a fantastic question. I believe it was just yesterday that OpenAI announced that in incognito mode, you can. If you use ChatGPT in incognito mode, you can turn off the history so it doesn't have any of the information. Yes. Um, I was looking forward to put it. Tanisha, you are funny. Um, okay, let's see if there's anything else that I need to address. Sorry that I went fast, Aisha. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else. I apologize. I've been talking fast. Oh, we have this one. Where did you get these questions for the projects? Can you share? I From my brain, I sort of, so that's also part of the, you're only, how much you're going to get out of ChatGPT is you need to still have skills to know what to even ask for. That's part of like what's needed. And um, as you go along, you'll see. So when you pick topics that you're a little bit more familiar with, it will hopefully make sense. Okay, we're a little bit over. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I will follow up with any questions that I see in the chat after the live stream ends. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you find where over here. I hope you find the QR code helpful. And like I said before, in my course, I unpack a lot of these topics in far more detail. There is a ton to learn on this particular topic. I am learning every single day, and I'm purposely not including even more. I don't want to have you overwhelmed in my course. So even in the course, I'm still keeping it somewhat basic, but basically, I'm essentially taking you from starting point to looking like a superhero using ChatGPT. But honestly, every single day for the last few months, I have been immersed in using ChatGPT for a ton of different use cases and trying different things in it. But I hope you are as excited about unpacking this technology as I am. Thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.